Welcome back to my Lemmings United level solving commentary. Today we are going to continue with Neutrality 11 through 20. So let's go ahead and get started. So we start off with Neutrality 11, IchoTolot's Flying Circus. Okay, so this level is all about making gliders and stoning them so that another glider lands on it, and then cloning platformers to make a bridge across this long horizontal gap all the way to the exit. And we will have to do this several times. So here, so first, after the first lemming has dropped a bit, I assign him a glider. And then the lemming before him, I assign the glider just a little bit earlier. And then once you get to this color light that's different than the rest of them that are in the same row, then you can start stoning. So by assigning the glider to the previous lemming a little bit before the first one, this allows the glider to land on top of the stoner, which allows him to platform. So I assign the platformer, and then I immediately clone him. And you want to do that because if you clone the platformer at any other time, the cloner would just simply hit his brick upon the terrain and therefore stop platforming. And so he wouldn't be able to bridge this gap or platform this gap. So this is the first time we are doing this. We have to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. And then of course, while the gliders and clones are doing the work, we go back to the car with a walker. So here the glider, these two gliders are just going to glide home. And what did I do? Oh, okay, I set another blocker. And I released the first one. Let 2 more lemmings go. Then I set another blocker to hold back the crowd again. And then we do the exact same thing. So here, after the first lemming drops a bit, assign him a glider. And then the lemming before him, assign the glider a little bit earlier, which allows the glider to land on top of the stoner. And then start platforming and cloning. Okay, this is the second time. And then when the left clone is done, you want to assign him a walker so that he turns back to the right. So for this first time, it was not necessary to assign a walker since he was able to seal the gap. And therefore, he turns around when he hits the wall. Okay, and then I release this blocker with a walker. And I send 2 more lemmings. And then use another blocker to pull back the crowd. Okay, and then we're going to do it again. Assign first one a glider after he falls for a bit. And then the glider to the second one a little bit earlier, so that he lands on top of the stoner and can platform and clone. And then again, when the left clone is done, assign him a walker to turn it back around. Okay, so we need to do this 2 more times, so I release the blocker again. Send 2 more lemmings. Kind of missed the color light, but that's okay. Map, but I kind of missed it here as well. But in any case, this solution does the job, so anything that works is okay with me. Okay, so there you have it again. Another stoner. And then assign the glider to the first lemming after he falls for it, and then the one that falls before him a little bit earlier so that he can land on the stoner, and then platform and then clone. And now I release the blocker and release 2 more lemmings. Yeah, 1 lemming slipped by, and so... Oh no, 2 lemmings slipped by. And there was one directly behind the other. So I made these 3 blockers. While these 2 lemmings go ahead and prepare the last one. So again, assign the glider to the first one after he falls for a bit. And then the one behind him, a glider a little bit earlier. stone, and then platform and clone. And then once again, when the left clone is done, then you assign a walker. And now it's just a matter of releasing the blockers with walkers. And that is it. What am I doing? Yeah, there's nothing else, so I don't know why I'm not releasing them yet. Guess I just wanted to make sure that everything's okay first. Okay, now I went ahead and released them. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So it's just the stoner glider application and platforming, I think 5 times. And other than that, not much to the level. Alrighty, next one. Neutrality 12. Sever Sacrificium. Sacrificium.
Let's go.
Alrighty. So the first thing I do is that I assign the first lemming going to left a floater. Then the one before him, I bash so that the other lemmings will turn around. You can't climb back. You can't climb out to the right. And here, I believe I block. Yeah, I block. Just a bit before this drop up here. Okay, and then I assign this lemming of climber so as to give this first lemming enough time to build, and then the one that comes next will be assigned a blocker to turn the builder around. Okay, so now the crowd is trapped here. Okay, and then the one that was assigned a climber will climb up this really high wall. And then we're going to be using this trick where, while the climber is falling, we're going to bomb him in mid-air so that it releases the blocker. Okay, and then we bash through the one-way wall. And what do I do? Oh, okay, and then I also assign him a climber. Okay, and then he can use the newly created hole to just float down, and then now he's walking to the right, and now he can just simply repair the bridges. Alrighty, and now all there's left to do in order to release the crowd is to bomb the builder, or the builder staircase. Then the crowd can walk to the exit. That's it. So this level can be a little difficult, but it's really not like extremely hard. Okay, now I start looking. Alrighty, next level. Neutrality 13. Fence and forget.
Let's go.
Alrighty, so here we have 2 entrances. So I send the first 2 lemmings on the right entrance, climbers, and then the third and final lemming that comes out of the right entrance will fence. And while that's going on, the second climber will build, and then the other one's just going to go ahead and, after he falls for a bit, stone. So this builder staircase is necessary so that the fencer keeps going. And then the climber that turns around, while he's in the fencer tunnel, he's going to go ahead and bash. So due to the way that the basher checks work, and as well as the width of the fencer tunnel, it allows the basher to keep going. And this will give the fencer enough time to platform across this huge gap. Okay, the basher went through the one-way wall, which has released the left entrance crowd. Okay, so that was a bit more than enough time before the crowd arrived. So really, all there is to this level is just simply knowing that Basher will keep going in a fence or tunnel. So once you realize that, then it's a pretty easy level. And also just realizing that a fencer would keep going um, if you position the builder staircase correctly. Alrighty, neutrality 14, 3791980. So we have 20 lemmings here, and we need to save 18 of them, and we are under a time limit of 2 minutes here.
Let's go.
Alrighty, so the first lemming, I assign him a blocker so that it turns the rest of the crowd around. We'll go up this path and then over here for a bit. Okay, and then I release the blocker with a walker. And then with almost the last lemming in this crowd, I dig down. This gives the other lemmings enough time to walk out before they fall in the digger pit. Okay, and then after the digger breaks through, he falls down, and then we bomb him right here. And then the blocker becomes a glider, which allows him to go past the bomber hole and land here. And now we build up so that when the crowd arrives, they will fall into this builder bridge. And then we'll assign him a disarmor so he can disarm this frog trap. And then finally, all there's left to do is that once he bounces off this wall, then we stone him right underneath the crowd where they will fall, so that it breaks their fall and they can land safely in the exit. And that's it. And we even finished the level with a little more than 30 seconds left on the clock. Okay, neutrality 15, midnight stroll.
Let's go.
Okay, so only 3 tools here: climber, gliders, and platformers. So the first lemming, I assign him a glider. I let the second lemming fall for a bit before making him a glider. And then the first glider will platform across to the left. Then the third lemming will start platforming to the right at the top here. And then this other glider that lands here, he'll platform to the left. And what did I do here? Okay, and then I assign this lemming a climber. We'll proceed to prepare the path on the top and for the rest of the level. Then what did I do? I assign this lemming a glider. What else did I do? And this platform that I just finished building, he will become a glider. And who else becomes a glider? Okay, and then this guy becomes a glider. Okay, and now the only tools we have left are platformers. So it should be pretty obvious that we need a platformer going across this way, which I will use the non-glider to do, like so. And then the other gliders, they will simply be able to land on here while falling in the water. And then the other non-gliders, they'll be able to land on here long before they arrive and drown. Okay, and then this guy has started his platformer. Okay, so because they're all gliders, they're able to land on here safely. And now the non-gliders won't drown either. So now all that's left to do is simply platform the rest of the gaps. So platform this gap, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So, and we have 4 of them left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and time skip this. So as you can see, we finished platforming long before the others arrive. And that's pretty much it already. So, can be a little tricky, especially this part right here. But once you manage to get this part correctly, the rest of the level is quite easy. Just making sure to send out the climber worker at the right time, so as to give him enough time to platform the gaps before the others arrive. Okay, next one. Neutrality 16. Symmetrical asymmetry.
Let's go.
And this one, I believe it will be useful if I zoom out. Okay, so the first lemming in the left entrance, I assign a walker to turn him around. We will proceed to stack so as to contain that crowd. And then I do the same thing on the right side. Assign the first lemming a walker. We will proceed to stack so to contain that crowd. And then I start with the left crowd. And the first lemming that comes up to the wall, I assign him a fencer. I'm getting my skill assignments confused. But that makes it quite amusing whenever I do. Okay, and then now that the fencer is done, go ahead and platform across. And we assign it in such a way so that it will seal off the gap and not leave any hole, so that they're able to walk up this fencer tunnel that's being made. Okay, and then same thing. We're going to go ahead and platform to the right, making sure that there's no hole. Anytime now. Okay, there we go. Now it started. Okay, and then we fence up again. And then here I proceed to let everyone walk into the exit. And then with the final lemming, I mine down before the exit. And then after some time, then I go ahead and start fencing up. And then this is crucial right here, making sure that we cancel a fencer mid-stroke with a walker, so that they create this step while destroying the terrain and prevent the lemmings from walking up to the exit. And then now we proceed with mining down to the right crowd. And then here we want to cancel the miner mid-stroke, so that it creates this step in which we will be able to platform across. And then we do the same thing. Mine down. And after a bit, cancel him with a walker mid-stroke. Like that. And then finally one more miner, which the crowd will be able to walk up. And now all that's left to do is to simply platform across the miner tunnels. And that's it. Again, can be a little tricky, but it's not overly hard. Okay, Neutrality 17. A little bit of backlash. This level was just recently backrouted by another forum member. And so the change that was made to this was making the climbers pick up skills. Okay, and the reason why you see 2 replays here is because I pretty much saved the old replays just for like historical reasons, just to show that how many back routes versions there were before the most recent one. The most recent one is just simply my accepted solution to the patched up version, but I keep the old versions just for historical reasons. Again, just to see how many versions the level went through, or the solution was finally deemed acceptable. So in any case, if you see multiple replays, the one that you want to see is the most recent one. Okay, so the first lemming that goes to the left before he falls off will be assigned a builder, and then we clone them, and then we clone the left building lemming again, and then clone him again. If one lemming will slip by, he will become the swimmer. And this is the builder wall that you will recall from Pacifism 41 that needed to be used. So we're doing it again here, but this time using the cloner twice, 3 times. This is essentially the exact same thing. Assigning 3 builders right on top of one another, so that it creates this impassable wall. Okay, and then once the builder is done, go ahead and platform across with him. He should not turn around. Picks up the climber pickup skills, And then we dig in such a way so that he's able to climb back out later. And if I activate clear physics mode, you see that there's this little step here. And now we have a perfectly scalable vertical wall. So that will allow the climber to come back out. And then we platform across this water gap. Then I proceed to assign him a climber for one of the pickup skills that we picked up. And then he's just going to go back and release the crowd with a miner. Just going to mine through the staircase. And the crowd will proceed to walk into the exit. And then this climber still has a job. He needs to rescue this poor swimmer that's stuck down here. And so we do that by go ahead and dig down here. And then we also assign him a swimmer. And then finally assign the swimmer down here a climber. And then that's it. Okay, this digger will stop once he reaches the water. So that's why we want to assign him a swimmer. Because otherwise he'll drown. And he's already a climber, so therefore we'll just climb back out. And that's it. Very nice level there. Okay, Neutrality 18. Stress? Just cool it.
Let's go.
Okay. So, looks like this is another level with lightning fast skill assignments. So let me go ahead and go back to where it was before skills were assigned. Okay, so I made the first lemming a digger. And the lemming before the digger, I made him an athlete by assigning him a climber and a floater. Okay, so now the digger pit is deep enough so that no one can climb up to the right, but the climber can still climb out to the left. Okay, so I proceed to clone this climber. Okay, and then I go ahead and stack with this lemming right here. It's going to prove useful because this allows us to get on top of the stack and then bash so as to make this hole. Okay, and then you will see here that due to the digger placement, this allows everyone to walk out to the right while walking to the left. You definitely don't want that because we need to give these climbers enough time to prepare the path. Okay, and then when the climber reaches that hole that we made with that one basher, he proceeds to bash. And remember that the original lemming was already a climber and a floater, so the clone lemming is also a floater and a climber. Okay, and then bash through this to reach the exit. And then the other climber is going to turn around and mine out the crowd. Just making sure here. And then I also bash here so as to delay the crowd for a bit. Because the miner tone's not ready yet. So we need to give the miner some time by delaying the crowd with this basher here. And then since we do have a climber, we assign the basher to climber so that he can just climb up and then use this part to get to the exit. But the others will not be able to be climbers. But the miner will finish in time before they arrive. And there. And then finally, we turn the miner back around with a walkthrough. And that's it. Pretty nice level there. Can be somewhat tricky as well. But it's not overly hard either. Just need to know about the punching a hole in the wall with a basher so that the climber can use it to bash. Alrighty, Neutrality 19, Pandora's Cave. And from what I recall, this was pretty much the very first level where I showed Icho back routes. So as you can see, this went through 4 versions before it was finally deemed acceptable. Basically, in the earlier versions, it was possible to let's see, how was it done? It was possible to block in such a way so that you could just release it with a miner after a stroke. Due to the irregular floor, it wasn't straight like it is right now, and that lasted for a couple of versions. Then it was simply decided that the easiest way to prevent my back routes is to simply just make the floor straight with straight edges, so that I cannot mine out the blocker the way I did before. Okay, so the second lemming will proceed to build, and then the lemming that's heading towards the dragon trap will mine around here. And now the miner tunnel is deep enough so that no one can climb up to the right. And then he will stop when he reaches this hole in the floor here. The builder will simply keep building up. And then after he walks down the builder staircase for a bit, proceeds to build to the left. Okay, and then we proceed to block. And then build up to the right. We only take one builder and he should not turn around. And then in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and release the blocker with a miner so that lemmings can't turn back around to the right. Okay, so now we have our one worker lemming. We will prepare the rest of the path for the lemmings. For the crowd. So obviously we build, and then build here in such a way that he doesn't turn around, and while leaving no hole. And then pass through. Build again. Again, he should not turn around. And then mine down, so as to make this fall safe. And then again, build in such a way that he seals the gap, but doesn't turn around. Same thing here, build in such a way that he seals the gap, he doesn't turn around. Pass through here, and then one final builder, building in such a way that he doesn't turn around. And then finally fence. And now all there's left to do in order to release the crowd is to place the blocker back there again. And now the crowd can walk to the exit. And actually, I ended up canceling my replay, so I'm just going to reload it. Just time skip everything since you already saw everything. Not exactly sure why I did that. Okay. There's that blocker assignment to turn them back to the right. So now everyone can go to the exit. Alrighty, and that's it. Then here, do I proceed to... Yeah, I proceed to... Sometimes it takes me quite a while for some very odd reason. And yes, the game still recorded my previous record of being able to save everyone, back when this level was backroutable. Okay, and then the final level for this video is Neutrality 20, Snake Ways.
Let's go.
Okay, immediately at the start, I max out the release rate and send 4 lemmings ahead. And 2 of them will get eaten by these snake traps. And as a matter of fact, let me see which lemming did I make a glider here. Okay, I make the last lemming and that red glider. Okay, and then this next lemming that comes up to the gap to a platform, so as to retain the crowd for the time being. Okay, and then these 2 lemmings will go ahead and prepare the path. What did I do? Okay, I assigned the glider a disarmer. So this disarmer he's going to go ahead and glide down here to reach these traps, which he'll proceed to disarm. Okay, and while he's disarming these snake traps, this gives the non-glider enough time for someone to path ahead. So he'll proceed to platform across this gap. Alrighty, and then we're going to bash with the non-glider in a way so that it turns the glider back around. We'll proceed to platform across that gap. And then he turns back around and is able to hit the basher tunnel in progress and turn around again. The non-glider will simply proceed to the exit. And the disarmer will come back to where the crowd is. Time skip all this. He's going to pick up this walker pickup skill. Bash through this very fancy looking one-way wall. And then he's going to platform. And then while he is platforming, he will be able to disarm the snake trap, which will prevent any of these lemmings up here from being killed by it. So really this level is just to show you that traps can still be disarmed even when a lemming is still platforming. But they cannot be disarmed while they are fallers. So like at the beginning, for example. Okay, and then finally all that's left to do to release the crowd is to dig out that platformer brick. And that's it. Pretty nice level there. Can only be a roadblock if you're not aware of how the disarmor mechanic works. Where it will not work if the lemming is falling, but it will still work if you are platforming. And by extension, it will also work if you are building as well. Which we will see in another later level in the rank. Okay, so that was Neutrality 20. That was 10 levels, and so that will be it for this video. So in the next video, we will continue with the Neutrality rank and do Neutrality 21 through 30. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time for the next one.